Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Bible class. Come on in to our Bible class this evening as we're still celebrating Women's History Month. This is Women's History Month, and we're still celebrating women's history, the greatness that women have contributed to our world. Women's History Month, and there are many things that we could talk about that women have done, great things that they have done in this world to help us to be where we are today. This is Women's History Month, and we're still celebrating women's history. So come on in to our Bible class this evening. Give me a few minutes to talk to you, and then I'll let you go. You can go and be about your business. Just give me a few minutes to talk to you about a little something this evening. Don't want to hold you long. Just want to pour a little of the Word of God into you this evening. So we're going to give a few minutes for people to come on in, and then we're going to have a little word, talk with you for a few minutes, and then we're going to get on out of here and let you get on back to what you're doing. Get on back to what you are doing. I hope everyone is doing all right this blessed evening, Wednesday evening, hump day evening. All right. There is a lot going on in our world, but remember, God is in control. What we go through don't stop where God is taking us to. What we go through don't stop where God is taking us to. So it may be a lot going on, but God is still in control. So just give me a few minutes to talk to you, and then we're going to get on out of your way. I know some of you have your own Bible classes that you go to. Some of you come already in your Bible classes. So just let me talk to you for just a few minutes. You can go back and check us out later. Check us out later. Check out my Bible class a little later. That'll be all right. You ain't got to be live. But we just want to talk to you for just a few minutes about the Spirit comes upon us. We're going to talk about how the Spirit comes upon us. We're living in a time, and we read all about how the Spirit came upon Samson over there, Judges 14, 5 and 6. Let's look at that. How the Spirit of God came upon Samson. Judges 14, 5 and 6. Let's take a look at that. It said, then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. Good evening to my cousin Shirley. God bless you. Glad to have you with us. And good evening to my beautiful wife. Just give me a few minutes to talk to you about the Spirit comes upon us. Good evening, Pastor White, First Lady Gail. God bless you all this evening. And good evening to my classmate, Not Kennedy. God bless you this evening. We just want to talk to you a few minutes about the Spirit comes upon us. And so we've read over in Judges how Samson went down with his father and mother to this place, Timnath. And he came to the vineyards of Timnath. And behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. And he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand. But he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And so that's what we want to talk about, how the Spirit of God comes upon us. Now, we saw how it physically gave Samson the power to do something physically, miraculously, But the Spirit comes upon us in many ways. It is the Spirit of God that gives us the power to preach the word. It's the Spirit of God that gives us the power to pass a test. It's the Spirit of God that comes upon us and wakes us up in the morning. So the Spirit of God is steady coming upon us in different ways. It comes upon us. And that's what Jesus said over in Luke 14. Luke chapter 4, verse 18. Jesus talked about how the Spirit of God came upon him. He said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Well, what did the Spirit of the Lord empower him to do? He had anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He had sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. That's how the Spirit of God came upon Jesus. And it ain't just come upon Jesus. We saw it came upon Samson. It came upon other people in the Bible. Judges 3, 9 and 10. Another way how the Spirit of God came upon some more people in the Bible. It said when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised up a deliverer to the children of Israel who delivered them, even Othniel, the son of Canaan, Caleb's younger brother. It said the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel and went out to war. And the Lord delivered Cushan, the king of Mesopotamia, into his hand, and his hand prevailed against Cushan. What I'm trying to say to you is the Spirit of the Lord is here. And no matter what comes against us here in 2025, the Spirit of God is here to come upon us. We know, as the Bible said, that the Spirit don't always dwell with us. That's why it said it comes upon us. Mean it ain't with us all the time. But at the right time, it will come upon us. At that right time, it'll come forth and give us the power to do whatever we are out to do, to keep the enemy from overcoming us. Power to get that house, that car. Power to say the right thing when people come against you. This is the Spirit of God moving in our world today, just like it moved in the day of Samson, in the day of Othniel, who you just read about. Let's look over here in Judges 6. Another guy the Spirit of God moved upon. Check him out. It said, then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. Bunch of people. They got a bunch of folks together. Folks figure, I got a big gang of people. You in trouble. You in trouble, because I got a bunch of folks with me. Everybody on my side. Well, guess what? Verse 34 said, but the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abnezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, and they were gathered after him, and he sent messengers to Asher. And see how the Spirit of God come up on him. And we know the rest of the story, how he was able to defeat all of them with 300 men. Only 300 men. But all of these soldiers, they say it was like over 20-some thousand, 22,000 soldiers gathered against him. And so they figured they had him. But by the power of God coming upon him, he was able to deliver them, his people. Good evening, Brother Stanley. God bless you. God bless you, you and your wife. Glad to have you with us this evening. And so the Spirit of God is coming up on us today. I'm thinking about Bruh Stanley, you can sit there in the midst of your house right now, and the Spirit of God can come up on you, and you can bring healing to your wife. The Spirit of God can come up on your wife and bring healing to you. The Spirit of God comes in many different ways. We read the story of Job. Job was sick, but God would not hear those other people, those other men. He wouldn't hear them. He called for the sick man. He called for Job to pray for them. The Spirit of God works in mysterious ways as it comes upon us today. And so we got to be prepared. Be that right temple, because he ain't going to dwell in no unclean temple. But if you be a clean temple, his Spirit will come upon you. No hospital can stop the Spirit of God from coming upon you. No situation you go through can stop the Spirit of God from coming upon you. So don't you let nothing take away your joy. The joy of the Lord is our strength, which is why I say all the time, I watch my wife sing praises to God while she was in ICU. She didn't know whether she was going to come out of that hospital alive or not, but she didn't let that stop her from praising God. The Spirit of God was upon her. I was watching it, y'all. How in a bad situation she still was praising God. Good evening, Sister Catherine Gibbs. God bless you, my sister. Glad to have you with us this evening. That's what the Spirit of God does. Dr. King told a story about an old lady who was walking to one of their meetings. And as the old woman was walking, they looked and saw that she wasn't walking so good. She looked like she was struggling. So they pulled the car up to her and asked her, did she want a ride? She said no. So they pulled away. But they looked in the rearview mirror and saw the woman struggling. So they pulled back around. Came up to the woman and said, ain't you tired? She said, yes, I'm tired, but my soul is at rest. See, that's what the Spirit of God will do. Give you the power to go on when this old body is feeble, falling apart. Yet you got that power to hold on, to go on in the name of the Lord. And that's what we need in this world today. Because Jesus said we're going to experience trials and tribulation. They're going to come after our houses. They're going to come after our jobs, our money. But we got to hold on to God. Stay with God. And when the Spirit of God comes upon us, then we can make it. We going to make it, y'all. That's how our foreparents made it through slavery. Because they held on to the Spirit of God. And you be a temple that the Spirit of God can come into and dwell. Dwell means it's going to stay there a while. But he said he ain't dwelling in no unclean temple. So we got to clean up in order that the Spirit of God may come upon us and dwell within us. Spirit of God is coming. It's moving, y'all. It ain't going to leave us alone. Let's look at Ezekiel over there in Ezekiel chapter 11. Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 5. Look what went on with him. Ezekiel said, the Spirit of the Lord fell upon me and said unto me, speak. Thus said the Lord, thus have ye said, O house of Israel, for I know the things that come into your mind, every one of them. The Spirit of God is coming upon us just like it came upon Ezekiel back then. Everybody have read the story of the dry bones. Well, in that story, also, Ezekiel 37:1 Spirit of the Lord, he said, the hand of the Lord upon me. That's the Spirit of the Lord. And carried me out in the Spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones. That's the Spirit of God. It's still operating in our world today. We just got to be prepared in the right mindset to receive the Spirit of God. It's still working in our world today. Just like it even with David. Over there in 1 Samuel 16 and 13 with David. It says Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him, talking about David, in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. You hear that? See how the Spirit of the Lord will come upon us? It came upon David from that day forward. Sure, we make mistakes. We fall. That's why he said the Spirit don't always dwell with us, because we mess up. But God don't always chide, meaning he don't stay angry with us. He's a forgiving God, and he'll come back. His Spirit will come back to you. So that's how the Spirit was with David from that day forward. And it'll be with us throughout our life, as long as we repent like David, have a repentive heart. And then the last place I want to look at how the Spirit of God came upon. Jesus talked about his disciples going through some things in these last days. Let's start at the 18th verse. He said, you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. He said, but when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak, how I'm going to get out of this situation, how I'm going to get my money, how I'm going to get my Social Security, how I'm going to stop them from taking this or taking that. He said, take no thought for that. He said, for it shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. He going to give us in that hour what to speak, whether you're going before judges, whether you're speaking before a congregation. A lot of us are afraid to speak before a large congregation, afraid to sing, but his power gonna come on you. My wife can't sing before a congregation without the power of God come up and upon her and giving her that power to sing. That's the anointing that Jesus talked about. He has anointed me. So this is the Spirit of God coming upon us, giving us the power to sing, to dance, to write, whatever we do. In that hour, he's going to give it to you at the right time is basically what he's saying. He's going to give it to you. He's going to come to you. And then listen what he said in that 20th verse. He said, for it is not you that speak anyway, but the Spirit of your Father, which speaketh in you. These is the last in the end days that Jesus was talking to his disciples about that we're going through right now, the end days. A lot of things happening. Don't you worry, he was trying to tell them. I'm going to let you know what to do. He's trying to let us know that haste makes waste. Something happened. You need to pay some money. They got a big old bill. We get nervous. Oh, I got to pay this. I got to pay that. But you need to settle down and wait on the Spirit of the Lord. Wait on his Spirit to come upon you. When the Spirit come upon you, it'll tell you what to do in that hour. Don't get nervous. Because when we get nervous, we do irrational things. We got to learn to wait on the Lord. He said, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. He's talking about waiting on that Spirit to come up on you, to empower you, not just to do what Samson did, not just to do what Gideon did, but to do whatever God would have you to do, to speak whatever he would have you to speak, to make the right decision. Wait on the Spirit of God. We're in some troubling times right now. And a lot of things gonna come up, gonna make you nervous. But you wait on the Spirit of the Lord, and he'll make everything all right. Don't get irrational, get scared, and go to doing crazy things because of what's happening. They about to take my money. Wait on the Spirit of the Lord. They that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. His Spirit is still coming upon us, even in this day and age. Me and Peggy was watching a show. Good evening, Sister Annette Madden. God bless you, Annette. Glad to have you this evening. We was watching the Jennifer Hudson show. And on her show on Valentine's Day, she had a little girl, 8 years old, that they called Dr. Love. This little 8-year-old girl was standing there before this big old audience on national TV, answering questions from grown people that were coming to her and asking her, what should I do in this situation? What should I do about my relationship? She was giving those people wise answers to relationship struggles that they were having. And she would give them the right answer. And some of them, she told them, you should leave that person. Get out of there. Go. This was a little girl. And I was amazed. And this what made me think about how the Spirit of God was coming upon this little girl, answering questions from people out of the audience, just coming up and asking her. And she would look like sometimes she would take a breath. And that how the Spirit of God comes in and breathe in the Spirit of God. Take a little breath sometimes. We need to breathe. We get anxious. But this little girl took her time, and then she would answer the question. And Jennifer Hudson asked her, how you do all of this? Where you getting all of this from? She said, from my mind, from my heart. And that's how we know that's the Spirit of God that was coming upon her. Which reminds me how the Spirit of God was upon Jesus at 12 years old. And he was answering questions from lawyers and doctors. The Spirit of God is real, y'all. And it's here. And so we got to be in the right mindset to receive it, because he ain't dwelling in no unclean temple. So it's here. It don't matter what the president does, the Congress does. It don't matter if the economy fall apart. Remember, the Spirit of God is here. And in the hour, meaning at the right time, when you need him, he's there. He's an on-time God. That's our lesson, what I wanted to bring to you all this evening. If there are any questions or anything from anybody about what we're talking about this evening, how the Spirit of God comes upon us. Let your children know that when they're taking a test, just pray to God. He'll make a way. His Spirit will come up on you, give you the answers to the test. You're in the midst of a situation trying to get a job. Let them know God will make a way with that job. You in a hospital, nursing home, in a bad situation, physically, mentally. Let them know that the Spirit of God will come upon you Even if you ain't got no good doctors. Peggy didn't have no good doctors. But that didn't stop the Spirit of God from coming in and healing her. So he's alive and well today. Just like he come up on that little girl. Just like he came up on Samson. He's here to be with us in a time of need. Like Jesus said, in that hour, he'll give you what to say, what to speak, what you need, what kind of strength you need. Whether it's physical strength, mental strength, or spiritual strength. He got it, y'all. So we just need to look to God. And his Spirit will come on. It'll come in right on time. All right. If no questions or anything from anybody, then we're going to get on out of here. I told you I just wanted a few minutes to talk to you about a few things so y'all can go on about your rest of your evening. Remember to love on your family. Most of all, love God. Love yourself. And love thy neighbor as thyself. Most of all, love God. Put him first. Keep God first in your life. All right, so we're going to get on out of here if no questions or anything. Thank you to you all for, okay, Cousin Shirley got a question. She said, how do we discern the Spirit of God from the enemy that wants to destroy what is God? The first way to discern the Spirit of God is patience. The enemy don't work through patience. If he pushing you to do something right away, then that's, wait a minute. Now, God don't hardly push you to rush. God ain't about rushing you. Wait on the Lord. That means patience. That's a one way of discerning how the Spirit of God comes. And then the Spirit of God is not selfish. So whatever the Spirit is leading you to do, if it's selfish, that ain't God. If it's just something just for you, no, God looks out for us all. He uses us just like he used Gideon. Gideon wasn't just winning that war for himself. He was winning a war for his people, for others that were struggling. So that's how the Spirit of God works. It ain't selfish. Is anybody else going to get some good out of this? God is not selfish at all. So you look at that. And it don't operate in fear. It don't operate in fear. Am I doing it because I'm afraid what's going to happen? That ain't how God operates. No. That's why he said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. He don't operate in fear. He's patient. And he's out for the good of us all. Not selfish at all. That's how you can discern. And you may be able to think of some more ways. But that's how you discern the Spirit of God. It ain't rushing you into nothing. It's patient. It ain't operating in fear. And it operates for the good of others. It ain't selfish at all. Because too many people think about my money, how I can make a penny. Peggy voted for Kamala Harris. And she knew that she might lose some money. Some of her stock did go down. And stocks are still going down while folks was voting for Trump thinking they stock gonna go up. Well, the stocks are still going down. But she made a vote, not for her stock, for her good, but for the good of us all. And that's what we as a people got to learn to do. Stop being selfish and vote for the good of all. Even if I might lose some, but we'll all win in the end. I remember a situation when I was working on my job, and the union came to me and asked me, do I want to lay off some of the younger people who had less seniority than me, so that we could continue to make our big money. And I told them no. I was willing to lose some money in order that everybody may have a job. Because maybe we might lose some money right now, but after a while, we'll all start making more money. And that's the way we got to look at life. Don't be selfish. Look out for the good of others. And that's how the Spirit of God operates when it comes upon us. It ain't selfish. It's looking out not only for you, but for others. God ain't saving us just to save ourselves. Good question, Cousin Shirley. Good question. All right, anybody else before we get out of here? Anybody else? Thank you to you all. Don't be selfish. Operate in love. Don't operate in fear. Be patient. That's how the Spirit of God works. The devil try to rush you into some stuff, and then you find out you made a bad decision. Take your time. All right, thank you. You be blessed too, my sister. Thank you to you all. Country girl. Thank you, country girl. We getting ready to get off of here. I don't stay on long, country girl. Country girl is one of the male person at the post office here in South Haven. I met her, and she invited me to her church, and since then she been inviting me and Peggy to follow her every Sunday as she go to different churches. She like to go to different churches, and so she been inviting me and Peggy to go with her, trying to get Peggy to sing and everything. So I thank God for country girl. I went down to the post office this morning, sat and stood down there and talked with her a long time this morning. So I thank God for bringing us together, country girl. All right, country girl. We just was talking for a few minutes, country girl, about the Spirit of God comes up on us. And we talked about how the Spirit of God came upon Samson, gave him physical power. Well, we looked at other places where the Spirit of God came upon Gideon and other men and women and gave them the power to do things. Also, it's the Spirit of God that came upon the disciples, Jesus said, and would give them the power of what to speak at the right time. And we watched on the Jennifer Hudson show the other day how the Spirit of God come up on a little 8-year-old girl and gave her the answers to questions that grown people were asking her. And she was giving them wise answers. That's the Spirit of God. So it's here with us today. No matter how what the situation you are going through, the Spirit of God is here. But remember we said, you got to be the right temple for him to come within. He ain't dwelling in no unclean temple. So you live right, the Spirit of God gonna come to you at the right time. Give you the answer to whatever you are dealing with. The Spirit of God don't rush. It don't operate in fear. It ain't selfish. And so that's how you'll know the Spirit of God is upon you. Amen. You said the Spirit of God helps you at the post office. That's right. Giving you the power to speak to people as they come in and out. No, I didn't see Jackie. Jackie got to say something. If Jackie don't say nothing, I don't know she here. So, hey, Jackie, God bless you. Thank you, Jackie, for stopping by. Now, if she don't say nothing, I can't see the people. All right. And we're doing good here in South Haven, Mississippi. God is with us. His spirit is coming upon us. We done got some challenges here in South Haven, but the Spirit of God came in and worked that situation out. And it's still here to work out whatever challenges we may face in life, like Gideon, like Samson, like Othniel, like David. Whatever challenges we face in life, the Spirit of God is here to help you with that test, to help you on that job, to help you whatever you going through in life, in the hospital, nursing home, in your home, whatever you may be struggling with. Just call on God. His Spirit is here to empower us for healing, for deliverance, for breakthrough, for whatever you need. All right, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you. Thank you to you all. Remember to trust the process and keep God first, no matter what you're going through in life, no matter what comes up against you. Trust the process and keep God first. Y'all have a blessed rest of your evening. Thank you to you all.